Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, where I talk about slow living and my life in the Finnish countryside. Right now my life is kind of busy. My kids are home from school on their summer vacation, but I'm still working and I'm trying to balance my family life with my work life. And that has been a bit of a challenge. So I thought that I would talk about things that help you wind down when you're feeling busy. And I'm knitting here at the same time while I'm talking to you. I'm working on this summer top. I will be talking about this top a bit more at the end of this video. So if it's something that interests you, make sure to watch till the end. But I'm not going to bore everybody else with the details. So let's save that till the end. And also, if you notice that I'm not looking at the camera all the time while I'm talking, it's because I might be looking at my work. But I also want to experiment if it's easier for me to talk to the camera while I'm doing something with my hands, because I feel like knitting does relax me, not just when I'm on camera, but in every situation. I feel like doing something with my hands might make it easier. So when I have a lot going on, when life is busy, I often notice the signs of starting to feel wired. And if I feel that way, I know that I need to do something, otherwise I won't sleep in the night. There are a few tricks and habits that I have learned over the years. Some of them are really simple, but really difficult. The first, and maybe the most important one, is to take time for doing nothing. When you are feeling overstimulated and wired, it can be really difficult to just do nothing. And when I say do nothing, I literally mean nothing. Not just taking a quiet day. I mean that you just take a moment to sit without nothing to do, without a knitting project in your hand, without even playing a meditation. Even if all those meditation apps and yoga practices and everything, they are very useful to do, but it can start to feel like your every moment of the day is somehow programmed and scheduled if you're just relying on those apps and guided practices. So what I like to do is, when I notice that it's difficult for me to calm down, I try to take some time for doing nothing. And it means that I lie on my bed, letting my thoughts come and go. There's nothing to judge, there's nothing to achieve. You're just being there, accepting your whole messy self as you are, accepting that you're feeling overstimulated, accepting that you might not be able to do anything about it at the moment. The thing is that you need to accept that winding down takes time. If you have been busy all day for days or for weeks, it's not just something that you can change like using a switch. One of my most practical tips is to lie on the floor. And yes, it sounds very simple and there's like no magic in it, but I often feel that when I just lie on the floor, it makes me feel more grounded. I once heard somebody say that when they can't sleep in the night, they just go and lie on the kitchen floor, and somehow that helps them. I had never heard anyone say that before, but I actually do the same thing myself. Not in the kitchen, but in the same room where I'm sleeping. Somehow there's something about changing your physical location that makes you more relaxed. When you're just tossing and turning in your bed and can't sleep, it just helps to admit it to yourself that you're not going to fall asleep anytime soon and just go lie on the floor. But also during the day, I just lie on the floor on my back. And if you do yoga, you know the Shavasana pose, and I love that pose. I think it's the most important pose in a yoga practice. We sometimes have these days when we are feeling that we have so many important things to do that we can't just stop. And that's a sign when you definitely should give yourself time to stop. And for me personally, it's a sign that I'm doing too many things. If I feel like I can't afford to take any breaks. Sometimes when I'm doing a yoga practice and I notice that I feel restless during my Shavasana. I have done maybe a half an hour yoga practice and then I realize that I'm still feeling restless. It feels difficult to stay put for the 5 minutes that are reserved for the yoga or for the Shavasana. So I feel like that's really important information about myself to notice when I'm feeling restless, so that I know what tools to use, how to respond to that feeling. I'm one of those people who often just live in their head. My mind is often busy. It feels like I'm just going from one thought to another, and I kind of forget about my surroundings. Sometimes it's a good thing. If I'm doing something creative, I can be so absorbed in the creative process that I forget about my surroundings. But it can also be a bit too much if the things or the thoughts that are going around in my head are something sort of negative, like worries. And in those cases, it really helps to trying to get more grounded, trying to be present. And for me, what helps is observing what I have in my surroundings. For example, I decide to focus on the color blue, and then I start listing all the blue things that I see. Or I can decide to focus on the senses, or one of the senses at a time. For example, I start to pay attention to what I hear. Or it can be that I try to focus on the sense of touch. What do my clothes feel like on my skin? How does the floor feel like against the soles of my feet? And if I have the time, I can even go outside and walk barefoot to really feel what the grass feels like. And if you want to take it one step further, you can start narrating what you're doing to yourself. Let's say you're cooking and you list that, okay, now I'm chopping peppers and then I'm putting them on the frying pan and now I can hear the sizzling. You can just list the facts, but you can also narrate to yourself how much you're enjoying the smells and how you're going to enjoy the result. How the food is going to nourish you in so many ways. These techniques often help me come back to the present moment. And if you're feeling really stressed out, it can feel like there's only one truth in your mind. Like there's something that you're worried about, and suddenly in this stressed state of mind, you just don't see any positive outcome. You only see the problems. That's how a mind works when it's in a stressed state. And for me, it helps when I'm in that situation, when I'm feeling really negative about things. I try to ask myself, what else is true? It might be that I feel like I have so much work to do and I have no way of finishing everything. Instead of trying to argue with myself about whether that's true or not, whether I'm going to be able to finish everything or not, I ask myself, what else is true? So then I look around and I say to myself, for example, okay, I might be busy, I might be unable to finish everything, but the flowers are blooming in my garden. When I just say to myself, okay, so you might be in trouble, but the flowers are still blooming, that immediately makes me more relaxed. remembering that there are other things in this world than my problems or the problems that I'm experiencing at the moment. And something that's kind of related to this is acting greater than how you feel. So let's say you're feeling busy and you are definitely not enjoying the moment very much. You can, even if you don't believe in it, you can just tell yourself that you're fine, and you kind of start acting in a way that you wish you were in. So it's kind of like this fake it till you make it. You start acting in a relaxed way, in a way that looks relaxed to the outside, even if you're not feeling relaxed at all at that moment. You're just starting to fake to be a person that you would like to be in that situation. Sometimes it works right away. You start to feel kind of more relaxed when you just fake it at first. And especially in the long run, if you do that all the time, your brain starts to feel like, yeah, okay, I might be a person who feels relaxed in this situation, even when there's pressure. And it kind of feels counterintuitive. It feels like, how does faking help anything? But for me personally, at least, it has been a really important way to actually start feeling more relaxed and grounded. And one thing I do when I'm feeling too busy is that I try to create this bubble of mine where I only let in good things or positive things. Of course, you can't decide what happens in your life, but you can protect your bubble a bit. You can decide to skip the news. You can decide to not use social media today. The same goes to conversations with people. Sometimes when you have to interact with people who just complain, who see everything in a negative light, I feel it's, well, first of all, important to realize that their negativity isn't your negativity. It doesn't have to be, but it can be difficult. But I have learned some ways on how to steer the conversation into more positive directions. So I feel like it's important to realize that it's okay to just change the subject. You don't have to be the garbage bin for everybody else. You have the right to protect your own bubble in a conversation. And you also have the right to decide with whom you spend time. Of course, we might have people in our life that we have to socialize with at least sometimes, and you can't really decide to, or you don't want to exclude them completely from your life. So I think this is about it, about these tips and tricks on how to get grounded, how to wind down when you're feeling busy. To conclude this video, I'm going to share a few details about this knitting project, as I promised. I first thought I would maybe share about a few other projects as well that I have already finished, but now it looks like my battery is dying soon and my camera is getting overheated, so I will have to do that another time. It's called the Pineapple Top. I don't remember the name of the designer right now, but I will link the details in the description box if you're interested in making it. So it's a sleeveless top that has this beautiful lace motif at the front, and at the back it's just plain stockinette. So even though it has this lace that does require some attention, then more than half of it is just stockinette. And I'm knitting this with, the yarn is called Hjertegarn. I don't remember the name of the yarn right now, but I will again link it in the description box. It's a blend of linen, bamboo and cotton. And I just love this color. I didn't know that this was my color at all. I haven't used anything like this ever, because I just always felt like I don't like pink. So I just stayed away from everything that resembled pink in any way, but this is kind of more like a dusty rose color. And the funny thing is that when I went to the yarn shop to buy this, at the cashier, the person commented something like, "Oh, that's so beautiful on you, like you chose the right color." And it's funny that she saw it about me right away when I had never thought about wearing anything in this color. But for sure, I'm going to choose this color more often in the future. This yarn feels really, I don't know, it's kind of splitty like all plant-based yarns are, but it feels like it will be nice to wear in the summer. And I chose this pattern because I didn't want to make a knitted tank top or anything like a camisole with just spaghetti straps, because I feel that's like making something like that knitted is not very practical for the summer, because you sweat, you have to wash the garment all the time. So I wanted, even though it's sleeveless, it covers the bra straps, which is very, very convenient, very practical. And you can also wear it underneath something else. So the summers here in Finland are not that hot, or at least they're not long. If we have hot days, it's only for a couple of weeks. So I plan to extend the time that I'm going to wear this into the fall. To be honest, it's so hot right now that I couldn't imagine knitting anything made of wool right now. So right now is the best time to knit something like this. What I have to say about the pattern is that it's kind of, I didn't really like the style of how the pattern was written. It felt like there was a lot of guesswork included. I think I'm doing the right thing, so I feel like it's going to turn out how it's supposed to be, but it took me some time at the beginning. And also, like in many tops that are similar to this construction, you knit back and forth, both for the back side and for the front side. And of course you then have to do this lace on the back side also. And in many lace patterns, they're designed in a way that the back side or the wrong side is really easy to knit, but not in this one. You do all the same things in the wrong side than you would in the front side. So you have things like purl two together, things that can feel a bit complicated if you do them all the time. Okay, I guess this is it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts about this are, about how to wind down when you're busy, how to not feel so overwhelmed, but also if you're knitting something, especially if it's something for the summer, let me know. Thank you for watching. Remember to take care of yourself. See you in the next video. Bye bye!